Now, of course, it's Wednesday, it's the middle of the week, you might be feeling a little bit stressed, and what's a better way to calm down than to do a little bit of yoga? I'm joined by Sadhana now to teach us a little bit more about that. Thank you for joining us this morning.
You're welcome,
so
Amy.
we're on the floor. I don't often get on my floor this early in the morning, but yoga is something that's becoming incredibly popular. In fact, I'd say over the last 10 years it's been quite fashionable, hasn't it?
Yeah.
What are the benefits of yoga?
There's lots of benefits. I mean, people come to yoga for a million different reasons. Some people with bad back, some people with inflexible joints, they want to get stronger.
Okay.
Bad breathing or heart problems, all sorts.
But even if you don't have a specific medical problem,
Yeah.
it can be hugely beneficial for mind and body, can't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Some people just come to class because they want to just chill out, literally, because they're so stressed.
It's a very hectic world at the
It
moment, as
is,
we know,
yeah.
so it's a nice way to relax.
Absolutely.
So there are different types of yoga, isn't there? Because often
Yeah.
I pop down to my leisure centre and look at all the classes, and it's just a minefield. There's so many different types.
Yeah, I mean, I think that got really confusing because essentially what we practice in the West is called Hatha yoga,
Right.
and that means more body movement as opposed to meditation, for example, which again is part of yoga.
Yeah.
A lot of people latched onto the Ashtanga Vinyasa yoga, which is great, but it doesn't work for everyone. And
Right.
because people like Madonna practice it, and
Is that a slightly more intense
It's
style
very
of yoga?
intense,
I'm
but
looking at,
again-
thinking of Madonna's muscles. She
well,
looks
I mean,
like she
the
can
thing
do
with
a strong
Madonna
workout.
is she was always strong beforehand.
Yeah.
I mean, she was a trained dancer and very flexible, but people kind of want to aspire to get to be like a celeb, if you will.
Yeah.
So when they come to yoga, they're kind of going for the wrong reasons. They want to get that body rather than what's going on inside.
And it's a bit of an unattainable image and an unattainable
It
idea,
is.
isn't it? If you see a celebrity and we think, oh, that's
Yeah.
what we aspire to be. Really, it's more about improving yourself as you in your own person.
Exactly. Accept who you are, enjoy what you've got, and know that maybe you'll never be able to touch your feet, and that's fine because it's more to do with your bones rather than muscular.
Right, okay.
But I think because we can be very goal orientated, we're very impatient, so we just want to get there.
Get results
We want to
quickly.
sweat,
Yeah.
and you don't really sweat in yoga unless you're going to India. For
Yeah.
example.
When
With a sauna.
it's a gentle exercise, isn't it?
It's
I think
meant
that's
to
why
be
it appeals to a lot of
gentle.
people. It's a nice way to ease you in if you
Yeah.
want to make subtle, just to your
Yeah,
life.
because a lot of my students are in their 70s and 80s. Well, some of them are much, much younger.
That's fantastic. Is it accessible for everybody then, all ages and
Absolutely.
all abilities?
Yeah, all I say is as long as you can breathe, then you can come to class. But then
Hopefully everyone can breathe.
Well, people can't breathe properly either.
Right.
So I'm going to be showing you how to encourage slower breathing.
Fantastic.
and
Well, should we
relax.
start with that then? Because
Yes.
we're hearing all about it, and I know I'm not going to quite look like Madonna, but it would be nice to calm
You don't
down
really
a little
want
bit.
to. So sitting is very important
Okay.
because a lot of people kind of round their back
I'm-
without realising. It's like
slouch
when you're kind
sometimes.
of on the couch and
Or if you're at the computer screen all day, you sort of start hunching over, don't
and
you?
you don't realise you're doing that. So that's why I bought a block in. So
Okay.
if you don't have a block, it's fine because you can just sit on a cushion or rolled
Okay,
up mat.
so I want everybody doing this at home.
So you can
everybody
sit
at home
like
should be doing this.
you are, and because people's knees can be a bit stiff. So if you take the block between your bottom and your heels, that will just raise you a bit.
Okay.
And if it doesn't feel comfy, Amy, then you don't
No,
need it. It just
how am I
depends
doing
on.
it right? There
so
we are.
yeah, you can just uncross your feet.
Right,
And then I don't know if you can see Amy's spine, but it's a lot more flatter here rather than that pushing
Suddenly
back.
got a good posture that my mum's always trying to get me to have, so I might
Mum's
just have to get her to get me a block.
Mums are very good like that. And then you just want to basically roll your shoulders back so your chest is nice and open.
Okay, and as I say, everybody at home should just get on the floor and get a cushion out and join us today.
And then your hand, you can either rest them on top of each other on your lap, and the thumbs come together, and this is a nice meditation
Right,
posture.
so the thumbs are joint together.
Yeah, but again, not kind of being stiff or tense, just being comfy. Some people like to bring their hands here, that's
Okay.
fine. But what I'm going to ask you to do is keep one hand there, and then bring one hand onto your lower belly, any hand. You don't have to close your eyes. All you're going to do is feel the way you breathe.
Okay.
And what you're looking for is what happens naturally with your breath in. The breath will come into your nose, into your chest, and then you'll feel your belly rising up normally.
Right.
So just normal breathing. And when you breathe out, your belly moves away from your hand. Breath lifts up and then comes out through your nostrils. So that's a bit confusing initially, but that's the natural path of the breathing.
Okay.
Inhale comes into your belly. Breathing out, the belly moves, and your breath comes up and out. A lot of people breathe in their chest, which is very bad.
Right.
So it becomes a very shallow and very erratic.
Is that quite a lazy way to breathe?
It's
as
not so
well?
much, yeah, it's lazy, and it doesn't utilise the lower lobes of the lungs.
Right,
So this
okay.
encourages longer, slower, calmer breath, so you feel relaxed.
Okay.
So just breathe, normal breathing. And this is a form of meditation, so if you find it hard to kind of switch your mind off, which is really difficult.
Especially with all the cameras here.
You just feel, you bring your mind onto your breathing, and if you need to count, then you'll just count a breath in for about 2 or 3 seconds.
Okay.
And you breathe out for about 2 or 3 seconds.
Brilliant.
How's that
Okay.
feel?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a bit...
No, I do feel
10
a lot more
seconds.
relaxed, because your breathing, it's such a fundamental thing that everybody does
Absolutely.
every single second, but
Yeah.
we don't give it any thought, and we just don't really realise how it can make a huge difference.
Well, it's like when someone's having a panic attack, they say breathe into a bag, and that's basically just to calm everything down, just get the heart rate back to normal.
Fantastic. And increasing your oxygen levels will increase your
Yeah.
alertness and so forth.
Yeah.
So fantastic. What's the next move then?
The next move is for the back. Most people come to me because they've got a bad back. So what we're going to do now is, and you can do this on a chair as well if you have arthritis.
Okay.
But we'll do it on the floor, seeing as we're on the floor. So you just come onto your hands and knees, please. And all you're looking for is your hands can be as wide as your shoulders, and you just roll your shoulders back again. Your knees, you just want to spread them out, and I'll just go
This
rid
is
of
not
that
the most
block.
glamorous positions I've adopted on this show.
And all you're going to do is basically, it gets even more glamorous, Amy. You stick your bottom up,
Okay.
pull your shoulders back and look forward as if your head's going to touch the camera, and you breathe in here. When you breathe out, push your hands into the floor, arch your back and look between your legs like a cat. That's why it's called cat posture.
Okay.
So again, breathe in, stick the bottom up, shoulders back, you look forward. Breathe out, and then push your hands into the floor, arch the spine, and then look between your legs. How's that feel?
No, it's quite an easy movement. It flows quite easily,
Well,
actually.
that's the thing, because most people can do this, and like I said, you can do it on a chair, so
Right.
you don't have to be mobile or flexible.
And how often should we strive to practice these techniques?
Well, again, it's to do with lifestyle, isn't it? So every day is asking a lot, so just as and when you can.
Fantastic.
You can always, come to one of my classes.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about your classes. How did you get into yoga then?
I found it from a friend of mine when I lived in Canada, and I've always kind of been open to the idea of yoga because I'm from Bangladesh. And then it was just something just intrigued me, and I just wanted to learn more and more. So that was about 17 years ago or something. And then it just hooks you. You just get absolutely carried away with it.
I know a lot of people that are just absolutely thrilled with yoga. They
Yeah.
really talk about it so passionately.
Yeah.
It's actually one thing that I've not known people to try and then leave. A lot of my friends as well, we go through health fads and we sort of try the next latest thing
Yeah.
and celeb crazes. But yoga's something that tends to keep people hooked for life, really.
Absolutely, and it is a life journey. So all we're going to do now is arch your back. You can take your head towards your knee, left or right.
Okay.
Breathe in. When
I
you
do
breathe
feel a bit
out,
like a cat now.
you just stick your leg in the air and look forward. Relax your shoulders. Just one more with this leg, so you're breathing in. And then this is just helping to release the hips, which again can cause your back to be stiff or vice versa. And then just bring that leg down. Okay. And then just the other side. So you just stick your head towards your knee, breathe in, breathe out. And yoga is all about breathing, because a lot of people will just move the body for a good exercise,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Yeah.
So you can just sit back and just bring the back of the wrist together, just give them a stretch out.
Right.
But if you're not breathing, then it's not, because yoga is a way of life. It can be a religion for many people.
Yeah.
So if there's no breathing there, then you might as well just have a good stretch, which is fine.
Yeah.
But that's where I think the confusion can be.
So really your tip to people at home would be really just start at the core basics, start with breathing. If you've mastered your breathing, that in itself is going to have a whole host of benefits.
Yeah.
And then you can move on. And there's classes throughout the UK, isn't there? But what classes do you run?
Well, I run, I've got a website which is sadhanayoga.co.uk.
Okay.
I teach a lot of patients privately, or they can come to my classes in Eccles, in Monton, in Manchester.
Right.
And there's quite a lot of classes because I teach Pilates as well, and
Right,
meditation.
okay.
So just,
What's the difference between Pilates and yoga? There's a bit of confusion there, isn't there?
I mean, externally they do the same thing.
Right.
They'll work you know, to strengthen your spine, your core, your legs, the whole body.
Okay.
But they'll just do it in a slightly different way. Some people prefer Pilates, some people prefer yoga.
Okay.
Yoga's just got the added element of more breath focus.
Fantastic. Okay, well that's all we've got time for, unfortunately, today. I hope all of you at home are down on your hands and knees at the moment, have been practicing with us, and I'm sure we'll have you in again to learn even more techniques and concentrate on your breathing.